Hey, what's up, guys? We're going to be covering fabric today and a few other things I noticed in your drawings. I recommended to a few of you that you should be working off tone paper so you can build up things a little bit quicker. You should also be using your whole paper. All I'm doing is taking the vine, giving it a coat, so I have a nice base to work from. You can do this with the compressed, it'll just be darker and a little bit harder to get your highlights in. Not harder, I should say it's more of a process. So, all right. You can use a towel, you don't have to use your hand. That's fine, whatever. So, when drawing fabric, we should do the quick gestural drawing because fabric is flowing, it's not stiff. And if you go up here and you worry about every little thing, it's gonna read as stiff. So what we want to do is pick up the major points that we can see in our fabric here. And we're gonna make a rough sketch. Just about like that. So this is very flowy, very general. So let's talk about selective editing. When we're doing our fabric, it can be pretty easy to get wrapped up in the details and let it get away from you. There's all these little intricate folds, but by just picking out a few, we can get the essence of the fabric without overwhelming ourselves. So I'm going to go in and kind of plot the darker points very quickly, establishing where my values are going to go. And then I'm going to sort of blend this out so I can see where my folds actually are. And get some of the mess away from this gestural drawing. This is why we like and work with charcoal, because it's so easy to correct and move things around with minimal effort. So there's zero pressure. I know some of you were feeling a lot of pressure, especially with the time stuff, but really there's no need to. It's also one of those things that it could look like crap for a good 15, 20 minutes, and then suddenly everything comes together and it's so perfect. So don't get discouraged early on. Also a good idea, using the sides of your drawing material so you can get a larger area faster. Also, applying pressure, starting out hard in the darker areas, going softer. That will save you some time as well. So I have it pretty well mapped out here. I haven't overloaded. I haven't gone into every single detail. I just have the major points, the major dark areas, a few of the lighter ones. Hello, dog. That's the other doggy. Or Full House here. So from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my compressed charcoal and start getting in some of those darker areas. And let's talk about implied line right fast. We don't have to outline everything. We can do that with our value and our shadow. It actually becomes a little bit more realistic. It also gives us variation of line. Not everything needs to be the same line. I know when we talk about line variation, it's hard with such a simple tool. It's so wide, but we can get all sorts of widths and lines out of here, you know. You can get super thin, super thick. So think about that as you're drawing as well. Because sometimes all you really need to do, let's say get this line in. All I'm doing is moving around the charcoal, essentially doing the outline with the shading. We can be very fast the way we shade because, like I said, charcoal is very malleable. We don't have to worry about messing up. Say I do that. Well, all I got to do is come in, reshape, and it's gone. So don't worry at all about messing up. Do not be timid. So I have it built up to about there. From there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my kneaded eraser, my pink eraser, and your optional Sumo. And I'm going to start plotting out the highlights. Now, the kneaded eraser is going to take less away, but you can shape it and blend it back in because you don't want, unless it's like, let me see one of these radial highlights here. Unless it's one of these really sharp where the light's hitting it right on the edge. Like that. We'll want to blend it in to create a gradient with the shading. All right, so I have the basic points, kind of feeding that back in, making sure nothing's too harsh unless it's intentional. Then the next is going to be your pink eraser or your magic rub eraser, whichever one you purchased. We're going to take off a little bit more. Sculpt those highlights. Excuse me, I didn't bring a glass of water over. And then right here, I kind of took off this piece and I'm gonna move some of that charcoal over because there's so much white, there's not even like really an outline. So you can just kind of draw that in. You can also cut your lines thinner. And then last, if you have the Sumo, this takes off way more than anything else. And you can have another layer of bright. All right. Now for your fabric studies, we don't have to worry about it being so finished. However, I noticed in a lot of your guys' first still lives, we had a lot of white backgrounds without the contrast and value scale. White backgrounds are not bad, but when you're trying to build a complete image and you don't have a fully established value scale, the range that this has, having a white background is going to make the piece look less finished. Great thing about working from middle tone is maybe just adding your shadow and you're finished that way. Or we can come in here and darken things up to create a contrast. We don't want halos. Some of you guys got like really close to the edge, just like that. And we don't want to see that. It's way easy, just bring it down. You're not gonna mess anything up. Remember, anything can be fixed. Like say I do that, I just got my whole arm across the whole image, wipe some stuff off. It's fine. All we do, go back, work on in a little bit, come back with the eraser, come back and darken things up a little bit, and you're good. Takes all 5 seconds to fix. So that is fabric. It's going to drive you guys insane for a little bit, but by the end of this, you should be able to do pretty well. And if you do have problems, just email me or work something else. I'm about to record a few more demos for some things that people asked about. But there we go, fabric.